Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. This is the 47th part of What If Deku Was Sanji's Reincarnation, My Heroes Reborn. The author of this great fanfic is Emily. Links to them and original story in the description. Chapter 47, This Is My Territory. Izuku looked at the high-end apartment building in front of him. He held a bag of groceries ready for that day. He rang the doorbell. "Come on up," called out Hibiki's voice from the intercom. The door buzzed open and he opened the door. Flashback. "Anyways, let's talk about something else I have in mind for the summer," said Hibiki. "What is it?" asked Izuku. "A small party at my place," said Hibiki, "to introduce you to other reincarnations." "Really?" asked Achiko. "I already invited Yuzu and Shuko. Both of them want to meet the rest of you," said Hibiki. "What about Hana?" asked Achiko. "She declined. Even with your help, she's still in a bad place," said Hibiki, "but there are 3 others for sures." "Really?" asked Izuku. "Who?" "You'll have to wait and see," said Hibiki, "but one of them is that close friend I mentioned earlier. I'm sure you two will get along. As for the other 2, they're the 2 were victims of priestess that were hit after you, so they're still trying meet new people, so they decided to come even with the rules I set up." "What rules?" asked all 5. "I had it so that there's no booze and no sex talk," said Hibiki, "so most of them aren't interested in going, because of that." This made the 5 sweat drop. "Look, I'm still uncomfortable talking about sex with you, and the booze speaks for itself," said Hibiki, who then sighed, then spoke in English, muttering to himself, "And Yuzu and Aoi are both the current title holders for best celebrity sex stories, so that turns off people who want to hear those stories but can't because you're there." "We heard that," pointed out Izuku, Momo, and Toru. "Oh right, you speak English," said Hibiki. Both Achiko and Mashireo looked at Izuku and Momo, who both had looks on their faces that said, "You don't want to know." "But the point is that they're kind of turn off right now," said Hibiki, "but my point is, my best friend, my good friend but not best, the death metal lady and the 2 newbies are the only ones coming. There might be more, but when it happens that's the short guest list." End of flashback. Izuku made his way into Hibiki's apartment, which was very nice. He wasn't surprised considering that Hibiki held many patents for the stuff he invented. He was also the first one there, which was planned ahead. Of course he would cook. "Hey, you ready to get cooking?" asked Hibiki. Izuku nodded. As he got started cooking, the 2 talked. "So any more guests?" asked Izuku. "Yeah, the new guy," said Hibiki. "Did Achiko tell you?" "Tell me what?" asked Izuku. "Oh, I guess she didn't," said Hibiki. "Anyways, when she talked to me about something, our conversation got interrupted with news that there was someone who fought back against priestess." "He's coming?" asked Izuku. "I haven't really met him yet, but from I heard, he's on our level," said Hibiki. Izuku stopped what he was doing and he knew what Hibiki meant. "Well, actually more like mine and Momo's, nowhere close to your level," said Hibiki. "Yeah," said Izuku. "From what I heard about him, he's already adjusting with his new past life abilities, and he is skilled," said Hibiki. "Do you know what he was?" asked Izuku. "A hero in his past life like me," said Hibiki, "though from what I heard his world was a bit more complicated." Izuku nodded. After a bit longer the doorbell rang. "It's us," called out Yuzu's voice from the intercom. Hibiki let Yuzu in. Wait, said Izuku. "Since Yuzu's in town, she came with Toru," said Hibiki, "though they had to do something first." "What?" asked Izuku. "They'll explain," said Hibiki, trying not to laugh. Both Yuzu and Toru entered the apartment. Toru was carrying boxes of cupcakes. But Toru also seemed, judging by her body language, to be tired. "Are you okay?" asked Izuku. Just a last bit of punishment from Yuzu after what happened in Hosu, sighed Toru. Izuku was confused, as he had forgotten about the punishment that was mentioned back during the incident. I made her carry me around Dagobah while I quoted Yoda at her, said Yuzu. Izuku stared at Yuzu. What? I'm a huge Star Wars fan, said Yuzu. That was when the intercom once again buzzed and Hibiki answered it. Hey, here for the party? Asked a voice. Come on up, said Hibiki. A minute later a guy in late 20s showed up. He had messy black hair and his hands were bigger than normal and he had holes in hands. Izuku immediately recognized him. You're the hero meat shot, he said, going into hero fanboy mode. Your quirk let you shoot out high-powered rounds out of your hand. The man laughed and smiled. Awesome, said the hero, and I saw the sports festival. To have some fanboy like you over me, wow. Izuku started to blush. The name's Hiroki Niku. He introduced himself. Your family name is Niku, said Izuku with a sweat drop. Yeah, my hero name is on the nose, laughed Hiroki. Yuzu was looking at him. Hey, I know you, said Yuzu. You're the guy who killed LeVar Burton in your past life. Everything seemed to freeze as Hiroki was frozen. Then he yelled out, why would you say that? He then collapsed. It wasn't my fault. It wasn't my fault, he cried in English, going into the fetal position. Then he started singing a song, more specifically the Reading Rainbow theme song. In his past life he was a guy by the name of Troy Barnes. He lived an interesting life. At first he was just a skilled high school football player. But then he couldn't take the pressure anymore, especially after a speech from a classmate that had a nervous breakdown, so he deliberately injured himself, losing out on a scholarship. So he went to community college instead, a really weird community college. He and his friends went my weird adventures, like heists, wars and saving the day. Also he was the chosen one for air conditioner repairmen. However, thanks to his friend he knew LeVar Burton, who was his idol, and in order to get a substantial inheritance from said friend, who had passed away before he did, they on a sailing trip together. As one can guess, something went wrong and he feels like he's to blame to his idol's death. Everyone looked at Yuzu. Yuzu, you know that's a sensitive topic for him, said Hibiki. Oh, right, said Yuzu. You have to fix this, said Hibiki. How? asked Yuzu. Hibiki looked at her. They knew he was also from the time periods at them, though much younger than them, but there would be certain things that they had in common. One of them was an ex-boyfriend of Lee's Lemon. Look, if it will get you to calm down, I'll let you know I dated Conan O'Brien in my past life, said Yuzu. Hiroki looked up. Okay. I really didn't need to know that, said Hiroki. I know, sighed Yuzu. Who's Conan O'Brien? Toru asked Izuku. Izuku shrugged. So he just as pasty, I think he is under his clothes, said Hiroki had calmed down. Okay, putting a stop to that now, said Hibiki. No sex talk. He turned to Aiko's device. Also don't send them information on who Conan O'Brien is, said Hibiki. Fine, said Aiko. The two teenagers looked at each other and shrugged. That was when the doorbell rang. Hibiki got it. Hey, it's me, called out a voice. Hibiki let him in, and soon enough a man in his mid-20s came in. He had white hair and seemed to glow a little, as his irises were white too. Oh wow! Your color wheel, cheered Izuku. Your quirk is really versatile one. There's a note on the back of your neck that changes your power if you shine a certain color light, but only the 3 primary colors or the 3 secondary colors. The hero gave a big grin. I heard you were a hero fanboy. He laughed. Hakase and Hibiki told me you're really into quirk analysis. That was when Izuku remembers something. Color wheel was on top of the list that Hibiki originally gave him before he went with Gran Torino. Oh, you were on the top of the list for internship choices, said Izuku. Sorry I didn't go with you, it was a little complicated. It's fine. I heard that it was a recommendation from your mentor, said Aoi. You'll never guess who his mentor is, said Yuzu. Please don't tell him, said Izuku. How did you two become friends? Asked Toru. No, why did you ask? Muttered Yuzu. It's because he speaks Japanese, said Hibiki with a sly smirk. What? Asked Toru. Aoi had a smirk too. So that project you're working on, said Aoi. Oh yeah, said Hibiki. Then he began to tell Aoi about his latest invention. That was when they both talked about the finer details of the project. None of them understood any of it as there was a lot of things they didn't understand. Please tell me you can understand it, said Yuzu. Just some words, said Hiroki. Yeah, said Izuku. Yuzu looked at the two. I had a mad scientist biological father in my past life, said Izuku. And in my past life I was the truest repairman, so I know a lot about fixing and building things, said Hiroki. The truest repairman? Asked Toru. I'll explain later, said Hiroki. So were you also a crazy inventor in your past life? Asked Toru. I did invent a few things, but I was an explorer, said Aoi. Really? Asked Izuku. What did you explore? All of space and time, said Aoi with a smirk. In Aoi's past life he was known as the Doctor, an alien whose spaceship was also a time machine. More specifically his 11th incarnation, 12th, it's compilated. His people had the ability called regeneration that let him live when he was close to death by regenerating into something of a new person. He wasn't sure why he was reincarnated as he was supposed to have regenerated, however, due to many reasons he had a lot of theories, but for the time being he didn't have any answers. But still, he was going to get along with Izuku quite a bit. That was when the doorbell rang. Come on up, said Hibiki. Within a few minutes, Achiko, Momo, and Mashireo came up. The three came together as a group, partially to make sure that Mashireo didn't get lost, which was ironic as he is the only one who had been there before. Though Achiko seemed a little out of it. What, you guys come here in a limo or something? Asked Aiko. Achiko didn't answer. You've been to her house. How are you not used to it? Asked Aiko. I don't know, sighed Achiko. So how many people are we waiting for? Said Mashireo, wanting to change the subject from Achiko. 3, said Hibiki. The doorbell rang again. 2. Correct, Hibiki, going to the intercom. Come on up. He let the guest in and it was Chuko who was carrying a guitar case with her. So you're the other 4. Said Chuko. I'm Chuko Jinga, aka Lady Soul. And I'm sure that Momo told you about me, and that you saw that morning show. The 4 nodded. It's so nice to finally meet you, said Izuku. Oh, so the infamous fanboy, giggled Chuko, making Izuku blush. That was when the doorbell rang. Come on up, said Hibiki. Wait, is that the newest guy or Sito? Asked Chuko. Sito, said Hibiki. Seriously, muttered Chuko. Why, wrong? Asked Momo. That was when a somewhat scruffy-looking guy with messy brown hair entered the room. I brought various drinks. Don't worry, I know there's teens here and they're all non-alcoholic, said the man named Sito. Oh, your dog spirit, said Izuku. Your quirk lets you turn in a dog, and not only that but you turn into various hybrid forms as well, which you use in various ways. I heard that one of you was a hero fanboy, but I didn't think it was the kid who won the sports festival. Laughed Sito Korwa. Izuku once again blushed. So good seeing you, Chuko. Said Sito, so how about that date? Still not interested. Said Chuko, rolling her eyes. Sito shrugged. I had to say this. Chuko whispered to Momo, but he's a better person to ask about dealing with a world without magic. He was a magic user too? Asked Momo. Unfortunately. Muttered Chuko. Sito in his past life was a man named Sirius Black. A wizard who lived in a world where it seemed to be normal, but the world had wizards and all sorts of magical creatures and normal people mostly didn't know about it. He also lived during a war between wizards and fought in it. He was also framed for a crime he didn't commit and spent a lot of time in jail. He was also open about his death, but that's for another time. So we're waiting for the new guy, right? Asked Sito. Yeah. Said Hibiki. And he's the fourth freak out. Said Aiko. Really? Asked Achiko, she only knew he fought back. And it's not because of stupid reasons. Said Yuzu, from what I can tell the guy was someone like Tony. What's that supposed to mean? Asked Hibiki. Well, he was a hero in his past life. Said Aiko. Really? Asked Toru. I also heard that he was a race car driver at one point. Said Sito, taking a seat next to Chuko, who had taken a seat on the couch. I had actually heard he was a paleologist. Said Chuko, I think he was also a teacher. He could be all of the above, you know. Said Aiko, from what I managed to get her freak out was pretty epic. Hibiki was pouting. Somebody's jealous. Sang Yuzu. No, I'm not. Muttered Hibiki as the doorbell rang. He went over the intercom. Come on up. You're the last one here, new guy. Muttered Hibiki. This made everyone's sweat drop. We might need to defuse something. Muttered Momo with her eye twitching. Achiko nodded in agreement. That was when a man with clawed hands came into the room. He also had a reptilian tail. Oh, you're Dino Ace. Said Izuku, I've actually been paying attention to you a lot lately, before you got hit. I mean. Really? Asked the newcomer, you were paying attention to me? Izuku blushed and nodded. Wow. I'm surprised considering what I'd been up to before I remembered my past life. Said the newcomer, and you won the UA Sports Festival. Yeah. Said Izuku, not wanting to go into details why he started to pay attention to Hiro. I'm Hibiki Kenzoku. But you already knew that. Said Hibiki. It was like he was trying to assert dominance over him. I'm Ruji Hogo. Said the newcomer, trying to be a nice guy in the face. You kids get to see him an asshole today. Yuzu told the teens. Island. Said Mashireo with his eye twitching. Oh right. Said Yuzu. So, you were a hero in your past life too. Said Hibiki. I was. Said Ruji, in my past life I was a Power Ranger. That's what we're called in my old world. You see, there were all sorts of teams made up throughout the years and even different universes. I was also kind of like All Might in a way. The one who everyone looked up to and the one who often led everyone when we all got together. Really? Asked Hibiki, getting jealous. It was true. In his past life he was known as Tommy Oliver. And it was true, he was considered a legend and held multiple titles as a Power Ranger, the original Green Ranger, the original White Ranger, the Red Zeo Ranger, the first Red Turbo Ranger and the Black Dino Thunder Ranger. And he was sort of an All Might equivalent due to that. Did help bring back half the universe back to life? Asked Hibiki. Okay. I think we should change the subject. Said Aoi. Oh yeah. Hiroki. You mentioned something about a truest repairman. Said Toru. Truest repairman? asked Sito. Okay, it involves air conditioner repairmen. It turned out in my past life they controlled a lot of aspects of society, said Hiroki. And so he told the story about the truest repairman, the chosen one for air conditioner repairmen. He tried to get them to act normal, but was never able to really. You were the chosen one for air conditioner repairmen? Asked Momo, trying to wrap her head around it. Are you sure that was real? Asked Sito, who was in the weirded out category. Look, it happened before the gas leak that affected my college, so it was one of those things that was real, said Hiroki, and considering that I remember what happened that one Halloween when everyone got roofied, it was real. Wait, a Halloween where everyone got roofied? Said Hibiki, please tell it's not a sex story. Oh, don't worry, it wasn't. The government did it everyone at the party because of a secret zombie virus that they wanted to keep quiet about. I was the one who saved the day and made sure the virus didn't spread and also saved everyone who was infected. Oh, okay, that makes sense, said Hibiki. How does that make any sense? Asked Momo. Trust me, I know about how shady the government can be, said Hibiki. You know, I'm starting to get hungry, said Yuzu. You're always hungry, Hibiki. Yuzu created a small crystal ball and threw it at him. You're only making yourself hungrier, said Hibiki. Don't worry, lunch should be ready soon, said Izuku. Are you sure you should be the one cooking? Asked Ruji. I was a cook in my past life, said Izuku. I thought you were a pirate, said Sito. I was the cruise cook, said Izuku. Wait, you were a pirate, said Hiroki. Were the Jack Sparrow adventurer type or the ones that took Tom Hanks? What? Asked Izuku, who got the Jack Sparrow reference. The ruthless modern kind, translated Yuzu. Oh, adventurer type, said Izuku. Okay, cool, said Hiroki. Why were you asking? Asked Izuku. No reason, said Hiroki. Okay. I should finish up lunch, said Izuku, getting the feeling about why he was asking. You know what's fun, said Aoi, changing the subject. I never caused Priestess to freak out. Why? Asked Achiko. I guess you could say that Yuzu's the exception to the normal people not fighting back, said Aoi, but I'm the exception to the ones who don't fight back. What do you mean? Asked Mashareo. I wasn't really a fighter, but I wasn't a normal person either, said Aoi. Really, what were you? Asked Sito. He was an alien time traveler, said Yuzu. Oh. Like Inspector Spacetime, said Hiroki. Everyone looked at Hiroki. Favorite TV show from my past life, explained Hiroki. That also sounds like a pony I knew from my past life, said Toru. Lunch is ready, called out Izuku as he finished up everything. However, during this conversation Hibiki was glaring at Ruji. And soon enough they were eating lunch. Of course those who hadn't eaten Izuku's food before were trying their best not to scarf it down due to how good it was. This is so good, said Chuko. How did you learn how to cook like this in your past life? You were a pirate. How did you learn how to cook gourmet? Said Hiroki. It's a long story, said Izuku, blushing. I heard something about Lunch Rush declaring you a rival, is that true? Asked Aoi. Izuku sighed at that. You're going to have to face him a cooking battle eventually, said Achiko. I know, sighed Izuku. You know you still haven't told how Lunch Rush tried your cooking, pointed out Mashareo. It's not important really, said Izuku. He looked at both Hibiki and Achiko, hoping one of them would change the subject for him. Hibiki was lightly glaring at Ruji, while Achiko was trying her best to keep a straight face. Thankfully Aiko recognized Izuku's problem and decided to bail him out. I wish I could eat that delicious food, but I have no mouth to taste with, said Aiko. Aiko, please stop doing this, sighed Hibiki. Why should I care? I also have no soul, said Aiko. Aiko play Funky Town, said Hibiki. Ruji looked at Hibiki, then he got a text that said, it's called a joke. He looked at Hibiki. Did she just? He asked. Yeah, she has her own phone number and can text people, said Hibiki. I see, said Ruji. After lunch, of course, they had cupcakes. Wait, this is my favorite type of cupcake, said Hiroki. How did you know? Don't question the cupcakes, said Mashireo. Hiroki then shrugged at this. After lunch they talked some more. You know, I've been wondering, said Hiroki, changing the subject, does Aiko play chess? Oh, that old cliché, said Aiko. Oh, you're a computer, you must love playing chess or Jeopardy. Jeopardy? Asked Toru. It's something from years ago, but that's beside the point, said Aiko. I prefer playing Battleship and Monopoly. I have things for her to play the game, said Hibiki. What you play against her in your spare time? Asked Ruji. What, you think my life is so sad that I play against an AI I built? Asked Hibiki. Ruji looked at him. So what's the whole Jeopardy thing again? Asked Toru. Okay, so in the early 21st century a computer company built an AI named Watson and thought the best way to test it was to play Jeopardy, said Aiko. This is how the rest of the party's so going to go, isn't it? Asked Momo. Distracting the Hibiki from doing something stupid with Ruji? Asked Aoi. It is. After Aiko's explanation about Watson, Hibiki was glaring at Ruji again. I brought my guitar, said Chuko, remember? She took it out and decided to play a few songs. Of course, she opened up with a death metal song. She did sing a few other songs, including a rather pretty song she wrote in her past life. That is amazing, Chuko, said Sito. Still not interested, said Chuko, rolling her eyes. Everyone noticed the Hibiki was lightly glaring at Ruji. Everyone looked at each other. They were running out of things to distract them. However, Yuzu, being Hibiki's best friend, looked like she was really getting tired of it. Okay. This has gone on far too long and it's no longer funny, yelled Yuzu. What? Asked Hibiki. You two are acting like passive-aggressive territorial cats. Enough is enough, yelled Yuzu. Passive-aggressive territorial cats? Asked Achiko. They exist, said Toru. Okay, said Momo with a sweat drop. Look. You both are awesome. We get that, yelled Yuzu, but you're both acting like idiots. We're not acting like idiots, muttered Hibiki. You are, said Aiko, agreeing with Yuzu. I'm extremely tempted to ask if you were going to challenge him to a pissing contest like that one time with the guy from your old school. What? Said Ruji. Flashback. Both Hibiki and another man was on his roof, peeing. That was when they saw someone walking their dog. They tired not aim at the dog, but the dog got hit. End of flashback. I hadn't seen that dog in between that incident and moving here. I think we broke its spirit, mumbled Hibiki. Everyone stared at Hibiki learning this fact. Yuzu and Aoi had heard the story. The five teens, on the other hand. Izuku had a look on his face that said, I know the feeling. Achiko and Mashireo both had looks of not being surprised. Momo just looked at him, shaking her head. As for Toru, she was invisible. The adults, on the other hand, both Sito and Hiroki, were both trying not to laugh. Chuko had an amused smile and Ruji was just staring at him. I'm going to guess you feel threatened, said Yuzu. You think he's going to take your place as the unofficial leader of everyone. But you know he's not. Hibiki pouted a little. I know. He muttered, because Izuku was going to take my place in a few years. Wait, what? Asked Izuku, what do you mean I'm going to take your place? Well, said Hibiki, the thing is well. You're uber powerful, you're a UA student not to mention your secret mentor. The second you break away from a sidekick, everyone who was a reincarnation is going to look to instead of Hibiki as leader. Explained Aiko. What? Yelled Izuku. Secret mentor? Asked Hiroki. He's being mentored by All Might. Said Yuzu. Awesome. Said Hiroki. Oh, that explains a few things. Said Aoi. Izuku sighed as he tried to process everything. He has confidence issues, doesn't he? Asked Ruji. It's worse than that, he developed a mental block holding himself back in fights because of it. Said Hibiki. Ruji flinched. Hey! It's not going to happen anytime soon. Said Toru. Yeah. I'm sure it will be fine. You have plenty of time to prepare. Said Achiko. I'm not saying don't get along. Said Yuzu, getting the subject away from Izuku, just don't act like this, or at least try to avoid each other like this. Honestly. Admitted Ruji, I needed your help with something. What? Asked Hibiki. I know there's a morphing grid in this world, but I haven't figured out how to tap into it. Explained Ruji. Morphing grid? Asked Yuzu. It has to do with his powers. Said Aoi. Ah. Said Yuzu. You better know what you're doing. Said Hibiki. Don't worry. I do. Said Ruji, also I think we should help him. It was clear that Izuku was still having his panic attack over one day becoming leader. Hey, look Izuku. Said Hibiki. I know. I can do it, but it's still a lot. Sighed Izuku. Is he really that strong? Asked Ruji. Izuku in his past life wasn't a top-tier fighter. Said Aiko. What? Said Ruji. Yeah. I was strong, but nowhere near the top. Said Izuku. Aoi seemed to nod. What kind of world did you live in your past life? Asked Hiroki. What kind of world did you live in your past life? Izuku asked right back while entering Sanji mode. Hiroki was about to turn it around on him but then realized. Okay, I admitted to fighting zombies, and being the truest repairman. I did come from a really weird world. Said Hiroki. I'm pretty sure Magical Talking Pony wins for weirdest past life in this room. Said Aiko. Magical Talking Pony? Asked Sito. Toru raised her arm while the other students pointed at her. The rest of the party went smoothly. However, Izuku opted to say and clean up even though he did cook. Okay, there's something I didn't want to say during the party. Muttered Hibiki, but... What? Asked Izuku. Someone was jealous. Sang Aiko. What? Asked Izuku. You started looking into him. Said Hibiki, who started blushing. I got kind of jealous, okay? Oh. I was looking into him before he got his memories back. Said Izuku with a sweat drop. This surprised Hibiki. He said it earlier in the day. Pointed out Aiko. I guess I forgot. Said Hibiki with a sweat drop. It's because before he got his memories back, he reminded me of someone from my past life. Said Izuku. Hibiki was surprised. Oh. Said Hibiki, I see. I knew he couldn't be his reincarnation because he wasn't dead when I died. Said Izuku, but he still reminded me of him. Why? Asked Hibiki. Said Izuku, I don't think it's a good idea to say. What was on your crewmates a huge coward at one point? Asked Aiko. said Izuku, kind of. I see, said Hibiki. I'm sorry for making you feel that way, said Izuku. Kid, don't apologize, said Hibiki. Izuku sighed. Yeah, don't blame yourself for Hibiki being a territorial idiot, said Aiko, that's all on him. Aiko, go home, said Hibiki. Yes, sir, said Aiko. There was an awkward silence as Izuku realized something before Hibiki did. Look, someone forgot something again, sang Aiko. Hibiki face-palmed. Izuku sighed at Hibiki. Thankfully afterward Hibiki somewhat got along with Ruji, helping him regain his abilities from the past life. Though admittingly the two couldn't be called friends. Still, it was better than being a territorial idiot. That will be it for this part. I hope everyone enjoyed. If you did, please leave a like and comment if you want part 48. If you want to hear more from me, subscribe. I hope to see you all in the next one.